Welcome back, everybody. It's Alex, and this is DMP for That's My Podcast. It's already on the third episode, and I honestly just wanted to take a second to just shout everybody out so far that has really shown support and reached out to me. Y'all are awesome, and it really means a lot to me, so thank you. This episode, I didn't really have a specific intro or anything. I just wanted to go ahead and just get into it. It's that time of the year, seasonal depression time. We've kind of been in it for a little bit now, honestly, but I just wanted to take time to recognize it and talk about some of the tips that I use and that I've heard work, and honestly, just be there as someone that knows what you're going through and can hopefully you can relate to. It's the time where the days are shorter. It feels like your day literally ends at 5 p.m. sometimes. At least that's how early it's getting dark here. I swear, today, I took a nap when it was super bright and sunny outside, which I don't know if I'm the only person where that happens to, but when the sun is just shining through those windows, but it makes me so sleepy. The sun has just always been something that just makes me just so happy, but also if I'm inside, I'm like, oh, this would be so perfect with the sun shining on me, just laying down. And anyways, long story short, I took a nap and it was an hour long, but I woke up, it was 6, and it was literally pitch black outside. So, now it's 8 o'clock. I still have had so much time for my day ever since it got dark, but I just lose that motivation. So I don't know if that happens to everybody, but I know for JJ and I, that struggle is real. So honestly, going into some of the things that I feel can help, and I just kind of wanted to segue into a bunch of different topics like creativity, finding your outlet, just kind of that mental fog. One thing that I know that kind of helps with that seasonal depression feel is by getting sun lamps. See, I've never done this myself, but I knew a bunch of people growing up that said that they honestly would swear by their sun lamps, and honestly, it seems like they were super productive. So I don't know if that's just the type of people that they were, if it's a placebo effect. I mean, honestly, whatever, even if it is a placebo effect, at least if it's working for you mentally, that's the whole thing. I mean, pretty much all of seasonal depression, I mean, I know it's scientific, but you know what I mean. It's almost all just inside your brain, which kind of leads into that mental fog. I don't know how y'all feel, but I don't know. I feel I lose a lot of energy and motivation around this time of year. And I moved to California in October because I knew that even though I have been missing home a little bit, but even though I moved here, I was expecting to not be affected at all by seasonal depression. And I swear to you, it has hit me so hard still. I mean, I'm not as depressed as I was back home, but honestly, I feel that was kind of because the seasonal depression was laying over actual depression. Not gonna lie. Granted, my life was not terrible or anything like that, but you know how it is sometimes when you just feel stuck. And that's kind of how I felt there. And here, I don't have necessarily that feeling of being stuck because so much is new. I mean, literally everything. And now I'm getting the hang of where my regular places are, and some really nice places where I get my coffee, where I go to for my gym, where to shop, where to grocery shop, things like that. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off topic. I just always feel around this time, I just literally just want to sleep all the time. And it's oh, I could be doing this and I want to be productive and da-da-da-da-da. But I just feel so lazy. That's the word, lazy. I literally feel so lazy around this time. Man, I just said lazy so many times. Y'all should just play a drinking game for how many times I just said it. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I don't really want to do anything. I know what I should do, but then I don't actually want to do it. And, that happens to a lot of people, and that happens to me other times of the year, but I just feel like it's way more consistent that I feel that way around this time. Some of the things that have been helping me personally, going to the gym in the morning. I feel like even though I haven't been able to wake up early, I've been so trying to wake up at like 5 a.m. so I get that extra time, which is another tip. Wake up earlier. If you're able to wake up earlier, it's wild how many more hours that truly gives you. And honestly, here in Cali, it does not feel like that many people really like get up early. Because I swear to you, like, okay, there are some people in the gym whenever me and JJ have gone at like 4:30, but if you like look on the roads, if you like drive past anywhere, like nobody at all is out. Like everybody's inside. And it honestly stays like that until like 7, 8, which is kind of wild because like back in Indiana is like us going to like Penny Lane, like coffee shop. I swear, like you could be walking like downtown at like 5. Obviously Penny Lane wasn't open at that point, but it's like you'd be walking around at like 5 and there'd still be people out just like walking their dogs, going on runs, all of that, which I'm sure there are still people here that are doing that, but I just don't see it as much. And that's probably just because like everything's more spread out here, I guess, in the sense of like there's so many more people. So maybe I'm just not in an area where my neighbors get up early. But anyways, getting up early is definitely a plus whenever it gets around this time, because since it gets darker so quick, you can have way more daytime. Now, even though the sun doesn't really rise until about 6:30, maybe even 7 sometimes, like I still feel like you can take advantage of that extra time, kind of getting yourself into the right headspace. Because I think around this time of the year, sometimes it takes longer to get in that headspace to feel productive, and you have to give yourself the opportunity to do that before just running into your day. I feel like if you just run into your day, you just kind of, unless you're just having a really good day, I feel like it's super easy to just get sidetracked and to start thinking negatively, even whenever your day isn't even bad or things like are still going your way. So I don't know. I think by getting up early, you can prep your brain mentally right, or go on a walk, enjoy the nature. I know that sounds kind of stupid, but like being like one with nature literally is so helpful. I think mentally, I think it just makes you have so much more peace inside and be able to have more peace with yourself. I don't know if that's like scientific or if I'm just being a hippie or anything like that, but ever since I started going on like regular walks and like taking pictures of nature and just enjoying it way more, again, I feel like I've been able to be a lot happier. So that's one thing, just take that time in the morning to actually sip your coffee, sit down, watch a little show, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook, start writing or listening to music, take your time getting ready instead of having to rush around everywhere. Go make yourself that extra breakfast and like actually do a nice cooked meal instead of feeling like you need to rush somewhere, you don't have enough time, and so you have to go to work starving. I think that is super helpful. And then back onto the topic of the gym, I think for me personally, whenever I first wake up, I really struggle with it's harder for me to like, if I start thinking about how I have to go to the gym, I like kind of lose that motivation. I'm like, man, I really don't want to go to the gym, and I'll like procrastinate. So instead, for me personally, when I first wake up in the morning, if I don't have meetings for work, a lot of times the best thing for me starting off my day is just to go ahead and go to the gym. I don't have time to think about do I want to go to the gym or not? I just get up, I'm a little foggy, I'm a little drowsy still, so I just put on my gym clothes, grab my water bottle, my headphones, and I just, head out. And the gym is pretty close to our house, which is honestly such a blessing. So I think that really helps me because I feel so productive afterwards. Like, okay, yeah, I just did that. I might have not been all there whenever I first started getting ready, but by then, like, I'm awake, I'm not as drowsy. Like, maybe my workout does take a lot of energy, but because it's like a snowball effect, I felt productive, and so now I'm on a roll. I use that as a domino effect, keep on going and doing more things that I needed to get done. And that kind of circles back to another thing too that has been helping, is writing what you want to get done the next day before you go to bed. That way, you're not trying to think, like, go through your day. You're going into your day with a purpose. I think that is so helpful. A lot of times I be forgetting, like, oh yeah, I knew I needed to do this, but wait, what was it again? I don't know if I just have like squirrel brain. I mean, I do have squirrel brain, but that happens to me all the time where I'm like, if I don't write it down immediately or put it in my notes app, something like that, then I swear I forget, and it could be like the most important thing. And it's not necessarily that I don't care. It's just I be getting caught up. I have such bad ADHD sometimes, for real. But anyways, yeah, writing down what you want to get done in the day the night before. I think you can write down things like clearly, you can truly have the time to think about it, and you're not wasting that time, the next day trying to write and think of things. Unless you might want to do that in the morning if you wake up early, whatever works. These are just things that have helped me, but honestly, you really have to kind of adjust them and tailor them to exactly what's going to be best for you. But I think going into the day with a purpose has been super helpful. Having that list where I can cross it out or check mark something, it's another thing that helps me continue on with that domino effect and use that momentum, like going to the gym and then continuously checking those things off of my checklist. Because the more productive I feel, the better I feel about myself, because I feel like my day's fulfilled. I'm fulfilled because I'm getting things done and I'm doing what I wanted to do. And I feel like that's a way to get yourself out of that mental fog that seasonal depression really brings. I feel like it's harder to remember things. I feel like it's harder to stay positive. I feel like one bad thing or one thing that doesn't go your way seems so huge whenever you have that mental fog and you're not as happy. And so I feel like having that purpose helps you get out of going through the motions. But kind of going back onto like what I do after the gym, a lot of times I end up getting a coffee, a lot of times I have to work, but continuously, like, something that has helped me too is I used to always put on the TV like in the background, always, like as soon as I'm in the house. I don't know if that's because I didn't want to think or if I just don't like silence, but I've gotten a lot more comfortable with silence lately, and that helped my productivity a lot. Turning off the TV and like leaving it off. I'm an iPad kid, so I love watching TV whenever I am eating. But doing my best to turn it off or maybe even not watch TV while I am eating my breakfast. That way I can continue on that productivity has been really helpful, because I feel like having like nothing distracting me has helped me give my full attention to, first of all, what I'm trying to do, and then also not to get distracted so easily and lose that focus where I start getting caught up in my reality TV shows. First of all, if you don't watch The Circle, not every season is good, but this last season, the 5th season, I recommend it. But I don't get caught up in watching the reality TV if the TV's not even on, which forces me, like, almost as a reward once I get everything done. Okay, yeah, I can watch my TV, I can settle down a little bit, ease into relaxation. But not in a guilty way. Sometimes whenever you like sit and scroll on your phone for an hour, when you have so many different things to do, it literally makes you feel even more discouraged, because you're like, oh man, I had so many things I needed to do and I just wasted so much time. Just don't allow yourself to be put in those positions before you actually create those routines. I'm going to say that like one more time. Like, create those routines for yourself. And the way to do that is by taking out those distractions at first. You don't have to delete an app forever. You don't have to not turn on your TV forever. You don't have to get rid of your video games. Like, whatever is your distraction, that can be really helpful, because, at first you're a little bit weak, like, unless you have super strong, like, self-motivation, it can be difficult to continuously put those distractions and temptations in front of you and, not give in to them. I mean, that's the whole thing with consistency, right? Whether it's negative or positive, if it's consistently there, it's pretty much going to happen. So create that positive consistency, create those routines, and then eventually you'll be able to add in those other things and have the TV on, but know that you need to still get this done. And it's going to be so much easier for you. That was a lot. I just stayed on that topic for so long, but yeah, creating those routines can really help you feel like you're not really going through the motions. It makes you have more time to do those extra things that are spontaneous and fun, and to choose really what you want to do, because you feel like you've been productive, you've done everything you needed to do, and honestly, it takes away some of that effort once it's a routine. Eventually, when going to the gym is like my routine and I've done it for long enough, I'm not even going to have to like push myself. I will have to push myself, but it's not going to be like, oh man, I'm dragging my feet going to the gym. It's just going to be a part of my day. It's not like I have to make sure I go to the gym today. It's already going to be a part of my day. I just don't feel like you're going to think about it as much, which allows you to open your brain to a lot more things and to be more present, which staying present is another amazing thing that will help you if you're in those funks, specifically around this time of year. I feel like it's easy to get caught up and down in the dumps and stay in that hole. But if you're present, I think you realize that there's a lot more positive things going on in life, that really, even if you're going through something, that life isn't that bad, that you do have it better than some other people, which I'm not saying that to belittle any problems that anybody's going through, but I do think that it helps you stay more positive when you put your life and look at it as the big picture. It's hard when you're going through tough times, but if you're able to realize, my body has not given up on me, my brain has not given up on me. I still have my family, or I still have my friends, or I still have my favorite meal, or, I have the money to go treat myself. I'm going to go buy this for myself, and those are just random things. So maybe all that is not necessarily what you have or not what's important to you, but, I think it's picking those things to choose to be thankful for. And if you're not present, you're not going to realize those things. It's crazy to think that you can not acknowledge your friends or your family or a good experience, but you literally cannot if you are not present. You're not going to enjoy those little moments where someone opens the door for you or compliments your outfit when you're walking outside. That helps you feel good, but if you're already down in the dumps and you want to stay there, you are going to stay there. So you have to want for yourself to be happy and to not go through those motions and to get out of those funks. Another thing that helps me around this time, and honestly has just helped me overall in life, is being creative. Finding ways to express myself. Find your outlet. What do you like to do? What makes you feel fulfilled? What makes you feel like you want to get up out of bed, because that can be the hardest thing around this time, is just getting up out of bed. And I think something that has helped me find myself and has helped me enjoy life again has been finding those creative outlets. Doing this podcast has been so fun. I know I'm not in it. I haven't been in it for super long yet, but honestly, just like sitting here talking, it seems so stupid. And honestly, it was kind of hard at first, just sitting there, like talking to yourself, or, talking to JJ in the last episode was very natural. But, sometimes it's hard because I don't, like I said before, like I'm not one to just sit with my thoughts and think. And I love to talk, but it is interesting, like just talking out loud, not talking to anybody technically. I know that, like, especially like with the people, like I'm just trying to think of the audience that I already have now, like I'm talking to you, like, and it's been cool. It's been a great experience. And that just made me think of my dad, like talking to myself. He literally, like, I used to walk downstairs, and I wonder if he'll ever listen to this, but walking downstairs, I swear every morning I would be thinking that there's another person in the house, or my mom's downstairs. He's literally just sitting there talking to himself, doing the dishes. It's so funny. But yeah, I did not inherit that trait from him where I felt comfortable doing that. But anyways, like other creative like outlets for me, like being able to be added to the company Jaded Romance with JJ just this past year was amazing. We've already done 2 pop-ups so far, which might seem small, but honestly that was like really big for us. Like, it's exciting. It gives you like that fire under your butt again in life whenever you start doing those new things and doing things that you're more passionate about. And I think that's what like finding those creative outlets means for you. Like that is why it helps, is because you find your passion, what makes you really happy, and what makes you feel like you're showing the world who you really are. And I think that it helps you really find yourself and really find that person of like who you really are, who do you want to be. It helps you grow into that. Almost like, I don't want to say it's like this other persona or anything like that, because you are you. Some people talk about how they have not the split personality, but the alter ego. Yes, me and JJ were just talking about that, the alter ego. And we're talking about how you want to merge yourself with your alter ego. You don't want your alter ego to be this complete other person that you feel like you can only be at certain times. Because honestly, a lot of times the alter ego is like that more confident person, the person that stands up for themselves. You definitely want to just be comfortable being yourself and being able to merge those personalities all together. And I think finding that creative outlet definitely helps with that. Certain things that like I wrote down of like different things to try. I feel like it's surprising how many people don't like try to do different things. Like, it's like almost like the media has like kind of cut off people from being as creative as we really all are. But like different things to try, like try doing some DIYs, like changing up your clothes. I started just like cropping different shirts and sewing, like hand sewing different stuff together randomly. And like, did it always look good? No, but it was fun to try and just see like what I actually like, to not be afraid to be a little bit different, adjust some things. Also painting, and one thing that like JJ talked to me about was I used to, whenever I was painting, I would always like try to copy a photo like from Pinterest or whatever, like something that I've seen before, but just try to go off of like what you really want to paint, like from your brain. I'm not saying that you have to do abstract, but it's way more fun and helps you be more creative when you're not trying to like just like trace something or, paint by numbers are kind of fun though, honestly, but you know what I mean. Just try to let those juices flow. Also different crafts, I've never been super good at those, but it can be fun, especially if you have a group pottery. Some people like calligraphy. That's always very pretty. Get into music or learning a dance, YouTube videos and tutorials on dances. You might look stupid in your kitchen or your bedroom trying to learn these dances, or maybe TikTok, but let me tell you, it's a good time, and it takes longer than you think to learn just a few steps. But maybe even try cooking or baking. There's a lot of creativity that goes in with food, surprisingly, figuring out what you like, different tastes that you think are fun. And baking, you can always decorate, which is also a good time. Even though I'm not a fan of icing, I always like to try to do letters and draw on there. Poetry is another one, and I think poetry is a great way to show your creativity, because I feel like whenever you write your feelings out in a poem, I feel like for some reason it gets way less judgment than if you were just saying it out loud, completely just it depends on who you're talking to, but I just feel like you can write anything in a poem without being scared of how it's going to be perceived. At least that's how I have always felt. So I think that was always helpful for me. If I was feeling a certain type of way, whether I was sad or really happy, I always thought it was fun to try to decipher my feelings and my thoughts by turning it into a poem. I feel like that was the main things that I feel like are super helpful dealing with seasonal depression. But also I wanted to talk about how allowing other people to come into your life can be super helpful. I think a lot of times whenever you are feeling down, you just want to be by yourself, I talked about feeling lazy earlier, not wanting to get up out of bed, the last thing you want is somebody constantly talking to you or trying to joke and stuff like that. But sometimes that is what you need. It's surprising how much better you can feel if you surround yourself with a group of people for even just a short amount of time, or even just one person. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just moving around and talking to people. I think whether you invite people over, you go out, you just don't want to just sit in silence at all times. I did talk about how that is good to not fill all the silence with random stuff and to actually meditate and talk to yourself, but you don't want to do that constantly. You don't want to just be alone with your thoughts 24/7. It's always good to get other people's opinions and to be able to hear about their lives, and I think that's another way that it helps you see your life as a big picture. You realize that you're not the only person in the world whenever you start hanging around other people, and you realize that other people have problems, and you realize how nice it kind of feels to be able to be there for people and to know that those people will have your back too. I know that it's harder to try to find different activities around this time, because a lot of places around this time it's really cold outside, which I don't know about you, but that's some of the most fun that I have is, swimming or doing different sports outside, or just going out and walking. So the weather can kind of take a lot away, but there's still different things to do inside. There's still those video games, card games. I don't know if y'all have ever played Mafia. It's kind of like Among Us, but all you need is cards, and then you have a narrator and people. It's kind of like it's kind of like Among Us and Heads Up 7-Up combined. It's super fun. If you haven't played it, just Google it or reach out to me and I'll tell you how to play. But some people like to do puzzles or create Legos. I know I want to do the succulents and flower bouquet of Legos. That seems so fun, and I've never put anything together with Legos before. And look up on TikTok the quarantine games. There are so many fun random games that people did based off of just random things that you would have in your house with a group of people, and it's fun. I think it was like close to New Year's or Christmas or something like that JJ and I we were blindfolded, and we put a bunch of cotton balls down on the bed and got a pot, and then we used like just one spoon, and blindfolded, cotton ball doesn't weigh like pretty much anything, so you can't tell that it's on your spoon, and you just try to see how many you can put into the pot and see who wins. Different stuff like that, I feel like, is another thing that helps you remember that like life is fun. And I think that's the biggest thing that you just have to get through your head whenever you're feeling down and in a funk, is that life is still worth living. There's still more things that are fun to do, and you can still feel good about yourself. All those things I feel like really go into helping get yourself out of those ruts and helping you get through the seasonal depression time. But that's pretty much all that I can really think about right now. Maybe I'll add some different things later, but maybe I'll even touch back onto this topic again if this was something that y'all enjoyed listening to. But again, I really appreciate all the support that I've gotten already, and I hope that y'all enjoy this episode. But until next time, I'll see y'all later.